It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's County Public Schools, where we test science IQs. Test your own and play along with us today. Let's meet today's teams. First, from Highland Park Elementary School, would you please say hello to Renee Talaveras, John Watson, and Zora Hennigan. And from Tulip Grove Elementary, here they are, Max Terrell, Kara Craig, and Joy O'Beary. And now here are the categories of questions that we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green Things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body Systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's Get Physical, questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left. They're worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points, no penalties ever for incorrect answers. End of the 2 rounds today, we will have a competitor for Vansville and the chance to move on perhaps to this year's semifinals in our Science Bowl competition this year for the elementary schools. Let's make sure everything works properly. Let's go to the red team, and John, push that buzzer for me. Thank you. Good luck to you, to Zora, and to Renee. And Tulip Grove, Kara, would you do the honors? It looks and sounds good. Good luck to you, to Joy, and to Max. And Kara, you're the only one who's ever been here before. You're bringing some experience. Everyone else is doing this for the first time. We're going to have a good game. And know that you've won already just because you're here, because your students picked you, your schools picked you as ambassadors. We're just going to have fun, and we're going to have a good time, all right? Let's do it. We go alphabetically. H comes before T, so that means Highland Park. You get to start. John, give me a category and a number, please.
Body Systems for 10 points.
Body Systems for 10 points. Teams, it was back in 1628 that a man by the name of William Harvey looked under a microscope at the tail of a goldfish, and he saw little blood cells moving around. He said, aha, we must have, like the goldfish, what kind of body system? Tulip Grove.
Circulatory. I'll pass on to Max.
Max.
Circulatory?
You got that right. He actually saw for the first time a circulatory system. Red blood cells moving around. Good answer. Go green.
Let's get physical for 10, please.
Physical for 10 points. Teams, when we sent men to the moon back in the 1960s and 70s, the rocket that sent those men up was as big as a 36-story building, and it was named for what 6th planet? John?
The Saturn rocket?
Say it again.
Saturn rocket?
Saturn rocket. You got it. The Saturn V. You bet. Good. Go. Red.
Green things for 20 points.
Green things for 20. Teams, if you've ever eaten a banana, which I'm sure you have, you notice they have no seeds. That means bananas cannot reproduce sexually. If you've seen one banana, you've seen them all. And since they are all genetically identical, what C initial term means that they are all copies of themselves, Highland Park?
Clones.
Clones. You got that right, Zora. Nice assist on that. Clones indeed. The Cavendish bananas. Go red.
Body Systems for 5 points, please.
Body Systems for 5 points. Teams, there was a song a long time ago called Dim Bones, and it went, the backbone's connected to the neck bone's connected to the head bone. What's another name for the head bone, Tulip Grove?
Skull.
The skull, that's right, good. Thank you for putting up with my attempts at singing there. Go green.
Let's get physical for 15.
Let's get physical for 15 points. Teams Io, Callista, Europa, and Ganymede are 4 of the satellites of Jupiter that were discovered by this man who invented the telescope. Highland Park.
Galileo.
You got that right. Nicely done. Good teamwork there, Highland Park. Galileo, it is. Go red.
It's 4, 5. Daylight science for 5 points, please.
Dateline science for 5 points. Teams, recently astronomers saw one of these in outer space swallow a star and eject Tulip Grove.
Black hole.
A black hole, yeah, thanks, Joy, and thanks to our nuclear physicist in the making over there, Max. A black hole and a flare came out afterwards, kind of like a big burp. Okay, go green.
Science potpourri for 10. Science potpourri for 10, please.
Science potpourri for 10 points. Teams is a multiple choice question. Teams, at the recent Paris conference on global warming, some of the stricter nations wanted to keep the intended rise in temperature to about 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. That is equivalent to which of the following degrees on the Celsius scale? 0, 1.5, or 3.5? Tulip Grove.
1.5.
1.5 is absolutely correct, but they did settle on 2 degrees Celsius, and we're already pushing that, so it's going to take an awful lot for us to keep the world from overheating here. Go green. Good answer.
Let's get physical for 5, please.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, if you take a plastic bag and put a magnet inside and take it and stir it around your cereal bowl with your Wheaties or your Total, and you pull it out, you're going to see little black flecks all over it, because what chemical element is in your cereal? Highland Park.
Metal?
More specifically, what kind?
Iron?
Iron, that's it. Yeah, that's why you got the magnet. Thanks, Renee. Nick of time. Good. Red.
Separate for 15. Separate for 15 points.
Separate for 15 points. Teams, this is an interesting question. Scientists discovered that animals that live in tropical forests, where it never gets cold, still, when the dry season comes, they lower their metabolism, and like bears do in the winter, Tulip Grove,
They hibernate?
they hibernate, yeah. There's no sense in being all active if there's nothing to eat. Let's just go to sleep. Okay, green, 80 to 70. Advantage Tulip Grove.
Green things for 15, please.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, at the U.S. Botanic Gardens Christmas display, they are centered. The theme this year is on this process where bugs and birds and bats help plants to reproduce. What's that process called? Tulip Grove.
Pollinate?
Pollinate. It's the pollination stations down there. It's great. They have the U.S. Capitol and the Washington Monument all made out of plant parts. That buzzer is rung. We've had a good first round. Let's check that score. Boys, it's almost a tie. Highland Park 100, Tulip Grove 95. We'll be back with round 2 in just a moment. Don't you go anywhere.
Simple moments are what make every day count.
Welcome back. So nice to have you at Science Bowl here today. 2 outstanding elementary schools. Here we are in our 30th year of Science Bowl. We started long before these young people were even thought about, but they're here today and they're doing as well as any teams that we've had. They're playing well together, they're talking to each other, and they know a lot about science. Let's meet the team from Highland Park. And John, tell us about Highland Park. Who's your principal?
Miss Robinson,
Out there, she's rooting for you. And who's the sponsor of your team?
Miss Susan Smith.
And Miss Smith, she joined us earlier this year because she's a first-time sponsor. And Susan, thank you for all that you've done. I know you came to help us judge the games, and all that has paid off, all your hard work. You've sent us 3 wonderful students over here. And John, tell us, did you have any alternates on your team?
Yes, Ruth Bridgers.
And we'll bring out the alternate and Miss Smith in just a few moments here. Tell me what you like to brag about. When you tell people, I go to Highland Park, and you tell them, what do you like?
Well, I like the after-school curriculums that they make learning super fun.
Yeah, but that's the important thing, super fun, isn't it? Yeah, because if it's no fun, why learn it? You know, you want to feel that it's important, but also that you can have a good time in the journey. Nice to have you here, John. What do you want to do when you get older?
I want to be a research doctor.
Yeah, you were telling me that. And what do you do in your spare time?
Read.
Yeah, and what kind of books you like?
All type of books.
Yeah, that's right, because I told you were an omnivorous reader, right? No matter what kind of book, fiction, nonfiction, you gobble it up, and that's why you're such a good student, because you read well and widely. Renee, nice to have you here. How do you know so much about science?
Because at my house, I watch these videos about science.
Yeah, and you know, there's so many videos on, and you can go on YouTube, and you can go on the internet. I mean, there's no excuse for not knowing science today because it's all around, and you've obviously taken advantage of all those resources. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a engineer.
Yeah, we were talking about that, one of the STEM subjects, and you're a good math student too, aren't you? Yeah, what do you want to design someday? Do you want to be a chemical engineer, mechanical, electrical? Have you thought about that yet?
A mechanical.
Mechanical engineer, yeah. We need engineers. The world really is the engineer's oyster. We just live in it because you guys build it for us. Good luck to you. Sora, nice to have you with us today. Why'd you want to be on this show?
My brother was on a couple years ago, and I went to see him play, and I really enjoyed it.
So now here you are, and where's your brother today?
He's at Kenmore Middle School.
Wow, and they are the winningest school in Science Bowl history. So there's a nice family tradition going on here. Zora, what do you want to do someday?
I want to go into broadcast journalism or engineering.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier, you'd be interested in being on radio, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that takes a special talent, and you got a lot of poise. I can see you being in broadcasting. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to read and go to the park with my friends.
Yeah, and what was the name of that park? The Cheese Park?
Yeah.
Why do you call it the Cheese Park? Do you know?
There's this playground equipment that looks like a piece of cheese.
That makes sense. It makes sense. Nice thing to kind of go in and out of. Thanks, Sora. Let's go over to Tulip Grove. And Tulip Grove, you guys are holding your breath waiting for a new school, aren't you? Yeah, you're temporarily housed in another school, which is very nice. I have been there, but I know you'll be anxious, or some of your successors will be anxious when they appreciative when you get in there. Tell us who your principal is.
Miss Coffin,
And she is out there rooting for you. And who's the sponsor of your team?
Mr. Taylor, and Miss O'Brien.
Wonderful. And I know they got you ready here kind of at the last minute because we had a school dropout, and we're so glad you were able to join us here. And you look like you're no worse for the wait because you're doing a great job here. Kara, you've been here before. What do you like about the show?
I like that we get to do competitive science instead of
Yeah, we make it a game because it's a little more fun that way, and you're not just kind of answering maybe paper tests of that kind. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we hope you feel when you get here. Tell me, Kara, what do you like about Tulip Grove? Best thing?
it has hands-on experiences like after-school programs, and instead of reading out of the textbook, we normally do experiments.
Yeah, hands-on stuff. That is just wonderful. Do you have any alternates on your team?
Eli.
Eli will be out in a few moments. And what do you hope to do someday?
I want to be an actor, a food critic, or a teacher.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and maybe teach second grade someday. I can see you have that nice, calm, patient manner. That would be great as a teacher. You're doing a nice job here today, and welcome back. Joy, nice to have you with us. Future neurosurgeon, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, how'd you get interested in that?
My mom's a nurse, and I just wanted to work in a hospital to help people as well.
Yeah, boy. So your mom is in a noble profession, and you would be too. What do you like to do in your spare time?
I like to read, go outside, and play with my friends, or go swimming in the summer.
Sounds like normal kid stuff. Enjoy being a kid because it goes away pretty quickly. What kind of books you like?
Non-fiction, fiction, and realistic fiction.
Ah, so you're kind of an omnivorous reader just like John over here. Readers do real well on our program here, as we can see. And Max, last but not least, nuclear physics, huh? Yeah, you're interested in atoms and molecules, and boy, this is a great time for nuclear physics with so many new particles being discovered, like the Higgs boson. What do you want to do in your spare time, Max?
I like to play video games or watch YouTube videos or ride my bike.
Yeah, and we were talking about that, and you wear a helmet, don't you? Yeah, because we know how dangerous biking can be. Because I bike, and sometimes it's not falling off, it's tree branches and things that hang down that can get you. Why'd you want to be on this show?
Because I really liked science and I wanted to be involved more with it.
Wonderful. That's a wonderful reason. Two good reasons to be here. All right, let's get back to our game. We had a score adjustment. The score actually is Highland Park 100, Tulip Grove 110, so a slight lead for Tulip Grove. Lots of points still to give away, and our last correct answer came from the green team. So, Kara, would you start out the second half, please?
Dateline Science for 10, please.
Dateline for 10 points. Teams, everybody had to smile when they heard the news that the first ever litter of puppies, there were 7 little beagles, were born in vitro, meaning they weren't born the normal way. They were born in what kind of laboratory glassware? Tulip Grove.
I'll pass Joy.
Joy?
Incubator?
Not an incubator, good try. What kind of glassware does in vitro mean? These little puppies were not conceived the normal way. What piece of glassware were they born in? Test tube. They were test tube puppies. The actual glassware is a petri dish. Louise Brown was the first so-called test tube baby moored many years ago, and she is now all grown up. Try again, green.
Can I have Zoo Parade for 10, please?
Zoo Parade for 10 points is a visual question. Could you look at the monitor in the studio, please? Teams, hippopotamuses are usually really big river horses, but this is a smaller version that lives in West Africa. Since it is smaller, what adjective do we use to describe such an animal? Tulip Grove.
Mini?
Not mini. That's a good try. Not mini. Give me an adjective to describe a smaller than normal species of animal where the normal one is much bigger.
Micro?
Pygmy. Pygmy hippo or dwarf pygmy. A dwarf hippo. We would have taken either dwarf or pygmy. No points. Try again, green.
Green things for 10, please.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, maybe you never thought about it, but when flags go flapping in the wind, after a while, they get all tattered and ripped up. But these green things on trees don't get ripped up. Tulip Grove.
Leaves?
Leaves, yeah, because they can actually change their structure and they can twist and turn and they can survive. They do not get tattered. Go. Tulip Grove.
Zoo Parade for 5, please.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, if you know the song, The 12 Days of Christmas, on 6 of those days, you better have a big cage because you're going to be getting these creatures. Highland Park.
Doves?
More generically.
I pass it on to
Zora.
Zora.
Bird?
Birds, absolutely right, yeah. Swans are swimming, geese are laying, calling birds, French hens, turtle doves, partridges. Yeah, they really like giving birds. Okay, go. Red. Thank you, Zora.
Body systems for 15 points.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, if a quarterback is blindsided, he doesn't see a guy coming at him, it's because that image fell on his blind spot, which is at the back of the eye. On what layer? John?
Retina.
Absolutely right. The place on the retina where there are no photoreceptive cells and where the optic nerve begins. Good. Red. Tie score 120 all.
Green things for 5 points.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as one of these prickly desert plants, Tulip Grove.
Cactus.
Cactus, yeah. Good. Green.
Green things for 25 points.
Green things for 25. Big one in that category, teams. A lichen is an organism that is part alga and part fungus. They're kind of married. The fungus provides the protection. The alga provides the food. Since they both benefit, that is what kind of S-initialed relationship? Highland Park.
Symbiotic.
You got that right, and you said that beautifully, young man. Nice teamwork there. Symbiotic relationship it is. 25 more points, Highland Park. John.
Science potpourri for 5 points, please.
Science potpourri for 5 points. This is rather disgusting. On the television show Running Wild, Bear Grylls that survives in all kinds of environments. Sometimes when he's in the desert, he rehydrates himself by drinking his own what, Highland Park?
Pee?
Yeah, he drinks his own pee. Absolutely right. Not to be tried at home. Go, Red.
Zoo parade for 20 points.
Green, zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, while monarch butterflies that live in the same area all the time are known as sedentary, the monarch butterflies we're more familiar with that go and travel a distance are known as these kinds of monarchs. Tulip Grove.
The migrating.
Migrating or migratory. Yes, indeed. Migratory versus sedentary. Go green.
Body systems for 20, please.
Body systems for 20 points is a multiple choice question. Teams, if you're in an airplane and your ears get all stuffed up, it's all because of the change in air pressure. Kara.
The change in altitude.
Not the change in altitude. Remember I said this is a multiple choice question. Highland Park, I'll finish it for you. If your ears are all stuffed up because you're in an airplane where the air pressure is very low, it's because you've got problems with your alimentary canal, your eustachian tube, or your carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel?
Carpal tunnel's in your wrist. Alimentary canal is your digestive system. It's the eustachian tube that connects your mouth and your ear there. That's the one where you got problems. No points, good try, go green. You're 5 points behind.
Science potpourri for 15, please.
Potpourri for 15 points. I know you'll know this one. Teams, paleontologists recently found the fossilized remains of a long extinct giraffe that had a weird bone on its head that looked like the headgear of Darth Vader's wife in these movies. Highland Park.
Science fiction. Science fiction?
More specifically, I need the exact name.
Star Wars?
That's what I want. Good. Go. Red.
Dateline science for 15 points, please.
Dateline science for 15 points. Teams, scientists have found that there is a stress hormone called cortisol that people who have a lot of friends on this social media outlet.
Facebook.
Tulip Grove?
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. Too many friends and you get all stressed out with this hormone circulating in your body. Go green.
Let's get physical for 20, please.
Let's get physical for 20 points. It's a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio, please. Teams, let's go chucking some pumpkins. This giant catapult, you can see the pumpkin on the right there. It's about to get flung. Right now, the pumpkin is just sitting on the seat. When it goes flying, it's going to have kinetic energy. But when it sits where it is right now, it has, Tulip Grove,
Potential energy.
potential energy, absolutely. Max, he got a big smile because he knew that one. Absolutely right. Go green. Yes, ma'am.
Science potpourri for 20, please.
Science potpourri for 20 points. Teams, when Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin many years ago, it got a lot of attention. If he did the same thing today, it probably would never get published because he had just made an observation and it was not backed up in the scientific method by a lot of what? It was not backed up with a lot of what, Tulip Grove?
Evidence.
Evidence. Can you give me another term?
Reasons.
Again?
Reasons.
Reasons. Judges, what do you think? No, they're not going to give that to you. What is missing if you've made an observation like Fleming did about penicillin It probably wouldn't be published today because it is not backed up according to the scientific method by a lot of what?
Data?
Data, that's what I want to hear. Good, go.
Body systems for 25, please.
Body system for 25 points. Teams, I'll give you 25 points if you can name the T initial gland in your neck that controls metabolism, and if it slows down, it can definitely influence your weight. What is that T initial endocrine gland's name? Tulip Grove. What you got?
Oh,
Max, what you got?
On the max.
throat?
Not throat. Good try. John, Zora, Renee, T initial gland. It is the thyroid gland. Try again, Red.
Zuparade for 25 points.
Zuparade for 25 points. Teams, if you all grow up to be scientists, and I hope you do, and your specialty is marine ichthyology, what kinds of animals are you going to study? Be specific. Marine ichthyology. What you gonna study, John?
Aquatic animals.
More specifically?
Marine biologists. Marine animals.
More specific. Right, judges? No? Okay, tell me more. Not quite. Not quite, Tulip Grove. You can get 25 points if you can tell me if you grow up to be a marine ichthyologist, what specifically are you studying?
Fish?
Again?
Marine mammals?
Not marine mammals. You are studying fish that live in the ocean. Fish in the ocean was the correct answer. Ichthyology is fish and marine meant in the sea. The buzzer says our game is over, and it looks like by a whisker, Highland Park has done it. We will be right back with a wrap-up. Don't go away.
If you're like most families, you probably have video game fans in your home. But not every game is right for every kid, which is where the ESRB ratings come in. They help parents make informed decisions for their kids. And there's an easy-to-use mobile app that gives you detailed info on specific game ratings. Video game consoles have parental controls that you can set to block certain games by age rating, so they get all the fun, and you get peace of mind.
I tell people I have 3 kids, one of them's adopted, I just don't know which one.
I can't imagine having to be in a birth mother's position to make that choice.
You know, I was kind of just asking her, what is your motivation? Why are you doing this? And she looked at me and she said, because you can give my son a life that I could not.
We always tell her, thank you. He is such a blessing to us.
Every day is just a ray of sunshine from him. So we're Chanda and Brian, and we chose adoption.
Welcome back to Science Bowl. What a game this was. It went back and forth. That testified to how well prepared these students were. We're proud of all of them. Our final tally today, Tulip Grove 180, Highland Park 185 by just a whisker. You guys are going on to play Vansville. Renee and John and Zora, you played a really nice game. Good captain, John. And Ruth waved to everybody. She's a very important part of that team. She's one of the alternates. And Miss Smith, thank you for doing this and congratulations. Let's see some big smiles over here. You guys came in at the last minute and you'd never know it. You were so prepared, Max and Kara and Joy. And look at the alternate back there. Eli, wave to everybody. Eli, nice looking shirt back there. You're all matched. Mr. Taylor, congratulations. Love having you on Science Bowl. The principal is here showing the support. Miss Coffin and Miss O'Brien, thank you for all you've done for these young people. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Bye-bye now.